There's always some they call the wild, wild rose. The wild, wild rose. The wild, wild rose. She smiles for miles and miles along a stretch of road where no one goes at night. The wild, wild rose, she only lives one round to be the wildest child just for a while. There's always some they call the wild, wild rose. The wild, wild rose. The wild, wild rose, she chose to be this wild, just like she chose the lies that blind was left inside. There's always something they call the wild, wild rose. The wild, wild rose. The wild, wild rose grows out in the meadow among the other flowers. Do your destiny to petal. The wild, wild rose only gives one smile. She only lives a while before she dies. The wild, wild rose is picked on by a child, I suppose suspecting it is just another flower. The wild, wild rose gets picked by a child. She only lives a while before she dies. There's always some they call the wild, wild rose. The wild, wild rose. The wild, wild rose, or so the tale's been told. She grows out on her own, alone out in the cold. The wild, wild rose, it only has one hope, to be the wildest child just for a while. The wild, wild rose. The wild, wild rose. Wild, wild rose. The wild, wild rose. The wild, wild rose. There's always some they call the wild, wild rose. The wild, wild rose is never one of us, and always one of those that brings the April showers. The wild, wild rose, it only gives one smile. She only lives a while before she dies.